Hi everyone, thanks for tuning in to Coffee with Eddie. My name is Eddie Campos with Remax Preferred Associates, and this is my 100th episode of Coffee with Eddie. Today we're still speaking with Toledo Mayor Wade Kapszukiewicz, and we're going to try to get a little more in depth about who Wade Kapszukiewicz is, our 58th mayor. I looked you up on Wikipedia. This is what Wikipedia says about you.
All right.
Creating a regional water system, increasing the size and diversity of the police force, restoring discipline in the city's budget, improving educational opportunities for Toledo's youngest residents, and improving city services are among Mayor Wade Kapszukiewicz's top goals. This is very impressive. I want to vote for this guy. Now, when you were a young Wade Kapszukiewicz, was this something that was on your radar?
Actually, you know what? It really wasn't. It really wasn't. When I was younger, I wanted to be a journalist, a reporter.
Really?
Believe it or not. Yeah, all through high school and into college, I thought I wanted to write for the New York Times or the Toledo Blade or, work at NBC News or something like that. I suppose I've always liked telling stories in some ways, and in an interesting way, being mayor is you have to tell stories in a slightly different way. But no, I didn't. I was not. When I was younger, I did not see myself sitting in the chair I'm sitting in today. But I can tell you when my interests began to change, and I very rarely talk about this, to be honest. I'm not one who talks a lot about my faith. I know there are some politicians who just really enjoy talking about religion and their faith, and I am faithful and I am religious. I just don't talk about it that much. But since you asked, to be really honest, it was a Catholic priest who began changing my perspective on the world, and so I need to give him credit. When I went to college, I thought I wanted to be a newspaper reporter, like I just mentioned. And I had to take an intro to political science course to satisfy a core requirement of my journalism major. I went to Marquette University, which is a school up in Milwaukee run by the Jesuits. And so it was not totally uncommon to have classes taught by priests. And so intro to poli-sci, my freshman year, was taught by a gentleman named Father Timothy O'Brien. That's not unusual in a place like Marquette. I had never taken political science. I never took it in high school. To the extent the word science was in the course title, I was pretty sure I wasn't going to like it, but I had to take it if I was going to get my degree. And Father O'Brien, who is still with us, he's late 70s now, but I still keep in touch with him. He was and is a very charismatic man. He really is one of those people who changed my life. Next to my parents, he probably had the biggest influence on my life. And he, such an interesting guy, he really merged the two subjects that you're not allowed to talk about politely at Thanksgiving dinner, religion and politics.
Sure.
And he merged them both together and talked about the good that you can do through public life. Now, this seems like a quaint sentiment now, when of course everyone hates politicians and the Washington D.C. is a mess and it's maybe even beyond repair. But it doesn't have to be that way, and it wasn't always that way. And when I think of Father O'Brien and his age, and he's Irish, the fact that he's Irish is a big deal to him. As I look back on it now, he had to have been inspired by the Kennedys and the Peace Corps, and some of that excitement of the 60s when, the idea that you could really change the world and let's, and Father would say that, hey, look, there's people in this world that, make decisions that affect thousands of people and homeless people, and they distribute millions of dollars to the, the poor and the hungry. And he said, and we call those people congressmen, we call them senator, we call them governor, we call them mayor. And when you're a 17-year-old kid in the front row from Toledo, Ohio, your eyes get wide and you're like, yeah, sign me up for that. So it might seem strange to folks watching this that that's what my motivation was, but I do believe that if you get involved in public life for the right reasons, you do have the ability to help people. You really do. And goodness knows, not everyone that I've met in public life is motivated for those reasons. And that's also not to say that I've always been perfect. I mean, of course, I'm human. I make mistakes and all the time. Just ask my wife. But at the core, I do believe that you can make a positive difference in people's lives by, for instance, in this case, being mayor. And I've told myself that the day I stop believing that is the day that I'm going to quit and start, selling real estate.
Selling real estate.
So that's how it started. The young Wade Kapszukiewicz would not have seen myself in this chair, but because of the influence of really one man.
Your freshman year.
My freshman year, I began to develop different interests. I picked up a double major, started applying to grad schools, and one thing led to another, and here we are. So I do like that story for this one reason, that whenever I screw something up, and I'm sure that I do all the time, you in this case have literally a Catholic priest to blame. It's his fault. It's because if it weren't for him, I'd be writing for the Washington Post or something like that today.
Well, I think the most successful people that I've had the opportunity to either watch in video, see in person, or read about are people that understand their why. They know what their why is, but not only that, they've taken the time to embrace it. And I think I truly feel that with you.
Yeah. Well,
so
thank you.
I appreciate you what you're doing for our community.
I'm trying my best. I know that.
Thanks for tuning in to Coffee with Eddie. If you'd like to find out more or watch more videos, you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn.